Hey everyone, welcome to my channel if you're new, or welcome back if you're not. So for today's video I have a review of the Jlo X Inglot collection. I bought 14 pieces from the collection. It is a wide range of 70 items in total, including all of like the different eyeshadow shades and everything. So in this video I'll give an overview of the entire range and then talk about the products that I have and how I found them. And you'll also get to see me do two looks, and one of them will have a bit of a wear test because this is actually take 2 of doing this video, but we'll get into that later. So if you're interested in this collection, then just keep watching. So I was very excited to be able to do this review for you. I find often that with like newer launches and newer collections and stuff, especially ones where there's a bit of hype around, they tend to be like American brands or brands that are harder to get from here. I'm in Ireland, so they have to be ordered online. I can't like test them out in store, or they'll have like a later launch date for Ireland and the UK. So I was very excited to see that Inglot was doing this amazing collaboration with Jennifer Lopez, because that is a brand that is very accessible for me. If you don't know, I used to work with Inglot 2 years ago now, I think I left, but I was there for 2 years. I started as a temp in 2014, and then I was asked to stay on, and then I went up to senior artist and then up to supervisor, and then I was the in-store trainer for the shop I was in out in Mahon Point. So I do use a fair amount of Inglot like in my kit and in my everyday life. You might have seen I recently put up a video about my Inglot 40 palette that I put together as like my base eyeshadow palette for my kit, and I've been using it a lot on myself as well because I was able to get a lot of products while I was working there, but also because I'm familiar with a lot of the products and a lot of the formulas. So when I first saw the announcement I was very excited, and actually one of the girls that I used to work with in the shop messaged me about a blogger event that they're doing in the store near me. I think that's happening next week, but I won't be able to go because I'll be in Dublin collecting my mum. She's coming over to help me do some wedding planning and dress shopping. So that day is going to be my first dress shopping experience for the wedding. But anyway, yeah, I wasn't able to do that, but I checked with her what date it was launching. So I made plans to go in early morning, get the products, and I was planning on filming and uploading a video that day, but that didn't happen. We'll get into that later, but it has allowed me to do a second look. So enough jabbering, let's talk about the collection. So in the full range there is a mascara, 2 loose highlighters, 4 matte lipsticks and 4 cream lipsticks, 4 breathable nail polishes, 6 HD pressed powders, 5 lip glosses, 5 blushes, 4 sculpting contour shades, 1 gel liner, 1 box of lashes, which actually kind of has 2 pairs of corner lashes or half lashes, 2 pressed trio highlighters, 2 brow gels, 5 bronzers, 5 pigments, and 20 eyeshadows, and a partridge in a pear tree. So that is a whole lot of product. And if you're familiar with Inglot and their Freedom system, they basically do eyeshadows that come as pans, and then they have magnetic palettes. They have like blank ones like the Z palettes, or they have one with slots in different kind of formations, so you can mix and match like blushes and eyeshadows and things. So they came out with some new Freedom palettes with like the Jlo branding on the front. So I wanted to get a good amount of product to be able to test and review and tell you about. I think the only 2 things that I didn't pick up, I didn't get a nail polish, even though I still might because I do love a nude nail polish, but I was more focused on the makeup. And even though I haven't tried the Jlo version of the breathable nail polish, I'm familiar with the normal breathable nail polishes, and they're good, they're fine, but for me they aren't anything too wow. They tend to be a little bit thinner of a formula from what I remember, but again they might be formulated slightly different for this collection. So it just wasn't something that I was jumping to get. I wanted to focus on the makeup. But again, those come in 4 shades and they retail for €16 here, or $20. And there was a clip here that got deleted where I was saying I also didn't get one of the pressed trio highlighters. They just weren't kind of my speed. They were more subtle, and I wanted to go for the more intense loose highlighter instead. And I also didn't get the eyeliner. There was one gel liner in Midnight, which is black, but apparently it's easier to smudge than the regular Inglot 77 gel. Okay, so let's get into the products that I do have. So if the lighting or anything just changed, I apologise. I actually had to run out and collect my dog from the vet, so I was so happy to see him. He was overnight getting surgery. So if there was a sudden change in lighting or camera position or anything, I apologise. And if you hear any little scuffling or anything, that's him. He's not happy with his cone at all. So back to the products. So we'll start with the eyeshadows. So I picked up 2 shades. I have Pink Satin, which is this very light shimmery pink. You can kind of see more of the colour that way. And I also got Deep Amethyst, which is this lovely shimmery wine shade. And actually I forgot to put on some of this onto this look. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the pink satin into my inner corner. There's a little highlight. So I used both of these in yesterday's eye look. I used the pink satin on the inner half of the lid, and that was going on over the Urban Decay Primer Potion in Eden. So I just packed that on over top and dusted it around my tear dot. And then the deep amethyst I popped on the outer half. And I also just took a little bit of that and buffed around the outer V. So both of those went on really smooth, no patchiness, good pigment, and blended well. And as I said, there are 20 shades in the eyeshadows. And they retail for €8, which is €2 more than the normal shadows, or $10 in the US. So next I used the mascara. This is the Jennifer Lopez Viva Las Lashes mascara. So it has this nice matte black tube with the gold labelling, and it has a really thin wand, so it's great to get right to the roots of the lashes and really defining the lashes and lengthening them. If you're one who likes a lot of volume and a lot of thickness, then it does take a good amount of layering, so this one mightn't be for you. Then you like this one. I like this one a lot because I don't have a huge amount of lashes, so if I have something that's too volumizing, it kind of clumps them together and I look like I have about 5 lashes. So I like something that's more separating like this. So that retails for €22 or $24, and there's 7.5 mils in there. So then I applied her lashes, and they're basically 2 sets of half lashes, and they're a nice and wispy style. So because you have the 2 sets, you can also double them up and have a thicker outer lash, but I just applied 1 to each eye. And the band is also fairly thin, so I didn't have any liner on, and I was able to get away with just applying them on their own. And they were super light and comfortable to wear. So then I used the brow gel. She came out with 2 shades, Truffle and Taupe. And I used Truffle, which is the darker of the 2. So it went on really nice and pigmented and creamy. These retail for €18 or $17, and you get 2 grams of product in there. So while I liked the product, and that is a very small amount of product, for reference you get 4 grams in the Anastasia Dip Brow, and that retails for $18, so just $1 more but double the amount. Or if you were going the other way and going more to drugstore products, the NYX one is €8 here anyway. That's €10 less, and you get 5 grams, so more than double the product. So it is a nice product, but I do think there should be more in the jar. So I just added little extra hair strokes underneath my brow, and then defined the top of my brow and feathered it through. So then I went on to use the sculpting powder. I used the shade Cocoa 4, and there's 4 shades of this came out, Cocoa 1, 2, 3 and 4. And that went on really smooth, really blendable, not patchy at all. And those retail for €12 here, or $18. Then I went in with the blush. I have the shade Cinnamon, and this is really a me kind of blush shade. It's really nice and neutral and soft. It's kind of a peachy pink with brown undertones, so it works really well blending into like bronzer and with kind of bronzier looks because it has that warmth. But I just personally love a blush that's more neutral and subtle, because I always add blush. I don't like to skip it because I do think it adds something to the cheeks, especially in the front area. But I'm also not one for a lot of blush. I generally don't like to have my cheeks too rosy. And they did launch 5 blush shades, and those retail for €10 here or $13. So then I applied the matte lipstick that I have, which is Flamingo. Now my lipstick doesn't actually have the name on it. I know the girls in the shop were kind of confused by that, but, that their matte lipsticks that they had didn't have the names on them, but the creamy ones did. So that might be the case in Ireland, that for whatever reason the matte ones just have the codes on them. So it's J217, and it's the pinkier one of the 4 matte shades. So it is like a drier matte. It's not as dry, I don't think, as their regular matte ones that aren't in the Jlo collection, but it's also not like a really smooth matte either, like say like a MAC matte. So those retail for €18 or $19, and they come in a nice, again, matte black and gold tube, or kind of a rose gold actually it is. And all the lipsticks have the JL embossed on the side, so it's nice and fancy. So you are getting something a little bit more special than the regular lipsticks because you're paying a little bit more. So then I went over top with the lip gloss I have, which is in the shade Burnt Sienna. So it's this nice browny nude shade, again in lovely packaging. And that went on nicely. There was decent pigment to it. It was nice and creamy. It wasn't too sticky. And these retail for €24 or $21. I do like the shade, and I will use it now that I have it. But for me personally, I'm just not one to spend more money on lip glosses. I'm happy to buy cheaper lip glosses because I'm just not a huge gloss girl. So I did like it, but for me, I wouldn't pay that money again to have it. And now for a little wear test check-in from the night before. Hello. I'm back. It's been a long day. So I just wanted to come on here and just give a quick check-in before I take off my makeup. It has been a very long wear time. I put this on at about 12 o'clock noon today and it is currently 11:55 p.m. So a full 12-hour wear, which is very long. So I did just blot because it was ridiculous how oily I was. I was like a mirror, I was so shiny. So I did blot and just pop on a little bit of powder because the foundation and base and stuff wasn't part of the collection or the review. So I did that just now, but other than that I hadn't touched my face all day. So of the products that I was able to use today, this is how they have worn for 12 hours. The contour on this side is a little bit patchy, but I think that is because when I was on the train home, I was had my kind of arm resting on the window and I was leaning on my hand. So I think that might have contributed to that. Because it's not so bad on this side. It's not perfect, but it's definitely faded more like evenly and worn evenly. Of course, the lip has worn off. Well, I wouldn't even say off completely, like obviously the lip gloss is all gone and most of the lipstick is gone, but there's still like a little bit of colour there. I think because it is that matte formula, it's still leaving something on the lip. I'll zoom you in for the eyes. The shadows look perfect. And I had used the Urban Decay Primer Potion, which is my go-to. This one is in Eden, so there's a colour to it. So they look the same, nothing strange or unusual, no kind of dramatic fading, no fallout throughout the day or anything. The brows are still exactly the same. I was actually a little bit concerned about that because I realised I think I rubbed my eyebrow or something at one stage when I was coming home on the train. So I thought I might have smudged it, but they're absolutely perfect after, again, 12 hours. And the lashes are still going strong. I had just glued them on with a dark duo glue. And what I will say about the lashes is that normally for me, for a long day, when I'm wearing makeup all day, I get to a point where I just want to take it off. And one of the main things that I want to do is take off my lashes. And towards the end of my day today, I definitely did want to kind of like just take off my makeup just because I was tired and I just wanted to go home and go to bed. But at no point did I think I really want to take off my lashes because I forgot I was wearing them. Because they're just so light, you don't feel any band, like particularly in the inner corner where you might feel a little bit of poking if it's like a thicker band. So yeah, literally forgot I was wearing them. So I think it's quite nice to have something like that for a long day with makeup where you know you're going to be itching to take off your lashes and remove your eye makeup and stuff. These definitely made it a lot more comfortable. So yeah, back to future me for some more product testing. So those are the products that I used yesterday, and I'll just quickly touch on the ones I used in today's look, which you will see. I have the pigment in the shade Blazing Rose. So it comes in the little jar and then it has Jennifer Lopez written on the back. And of course the matte black top with the logo like everything else. And these come in 5 different shades. They retail for €20 here or $25 in the US. I have one of the HD pressed powders in Nude 5. And these come in 6 different shades. And they retail for €22 or $21. I have the Boogie Down Bronze in the shade Sunset. These come in 5 different shades and they retail for €22 or $22. And I have the Livin the Highlight Illuminator in the shade Radiant. And these come in 2 different shades. There's this one and a darker one. And they retail for €24 or $23. So from here we are going to jump into this look and I'll talk you through what I'm using. I used some of the same products that I used in yesterday's look. Some of them I use in a different way, and I also use the products I didn't get to use in yesterday's look as well. So you get to see them all in action, and I'll also chat to you about yesterday and why that attempt of the video didn't work out. And then we'll finish up with just a roundup and final thoughts. Hello, so we're back to today. You will have seen the look I did yesterday and the products I used yesterday. So today I'm going to use some of those products again and also a few new products. And I'll do that on camera so I can chat to you about the products and about yesterday and everything. So I already have my base on and I'm sticking with the Inglot theme since I'm going to be talking you through this whole section. So I'm wearing the Inglot HD foundation in 76 and the Inglot under eye concealer in 96. And I set all of that with the mattifying powder in 303. So I'm going to start with the eyes and I'm actually going to use the sculpting powder that I used yesterday on my face. And I'll probably use again today. And that is in the shade Cocoa 4. I'm just going to pop that in the crease and blend up. So the plan for yesterday was to head into Inglot in the morning when they open at 9:30 into the shop in Mahon Point. If you're familiar with Cork, that's the shop I used to work in. And pick up my products and head straight back out because I had a client at 10:30. And then once I finish with my client, sit down here, film the video and then head off to get the train to Dublin for a Mac masterclass. And to be honest, I was being pretty ambitious with my timing anyway. I had it like scheduled like down to the minute because I also wanted to like take pictures of the products untouched for the blog post. And I wanted to be able to talk about the products and also show you applications and stuff. Yeah, so I was being pretty ambitious anyway. But the night before, I got a flat tire coming home from work late at night. That meant that yesterday morning when I planned to do all this, I had to drop my fiance into work and so that I could take his van. So that kind of took a chunk out of my morning. I also had to drop the dog to the vet. I didn't know that, but it was kind of like just an extra thing that I had to do. My little Bijan Minty had to go in for surgery yesterday. So that was like a whole other emotional thing. Like I was obviously really worried about him and stuff. It was just a knee surgery. He had a dislocated knee, but he'd never been in for surgery before and he'd never had to stay overnight at the vet. So I was like really worried about him being scared and lonely and stuff. And I still am. I'm collecting him today at 3:15 and I can't wait. So anyway, yeah, I had to drop him off that morning as well before I went out to Inglot. But I still managed to get out to Inglot on time. And I thought I would just like be able to like pick my products really quickly. But because it was like the first day of the launch and like first morning, and I think I was like the first customer of the day, they were like just still getting their bearings of which products were which because they're all new and where they had them kept in what drawers and stuff. So pulling the products took a while. So it was a little bit more of a leisurely stop by than I was thinking in my head. And then when I went to check out and pay, the till wouldn't take discount cards. So like I have my pro discount card and she went to scan that and it wasn't taking the discount off. And then in my head I was going, oh no, is this going to be like a special collection where you can't use a discount on it or something? But she said no, you definitely can. And they tried like the in-store discount card that they have to hand and that wouldn't work either. So she actually had to manually discount each item. Poor Kelly had a nightmare. I used to work with Kelly when I was in there, so she had a bit of a tough time trying to put through my sale. But we got there in the end. But through all the jigs and the reels, when I got home, I did have my client. That was grand. I sat down to film, so I was going through the look, and as I was going through the products I realised that I was missing 3 of the products that I had picked out. And just through all the jigs and the reels of pulling the products and checking out and stuff, 3 of the products that I had picked out weren't in my bag, and I checked my receipt and I wasn't charged for them or anything. I'm just going to run that under the eye as well. I'm taking so long to do this because I'm chatting. So I couldn't even like finish the look of using each product. And at this stage I was really tight for time, so I didn't want to like squeeze in the bit about talking about the products and not have it be as good as I wanted it to be. You know, I didn't want it to be rushed. The whole point was that I was excited to be able to do like a good in-depth review about a new collection. I didn't want it to be, you know, not good. Hopefully this one will be good. Okay, so I'm just going to take Deep Amethyst and just pop that in my outer V just to add some depth, even though this is a shimmer, but I'm not taking it too high into the crease. So yeah, I was really disappointed. I ended up just having to like pack up and go to make sure that I was on time for the train and stuff. So I was on the train. I was really disappointed because I'd like psyched myself up to be really efficient and get it all done and I'd be really good and be really early and I'd be really happy with it. So I was really disappointed on the train, and you might have seen, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen I put on my stories about that I had planned to do the video and it didn't work out. So I was having kind of a down moment and I was just kind of over the day already. I was done with it. But I was like, no, you know what, I'm going to do this. It's not going to be as quick off the mark as I wanted, but you know, I plan to do this and I still want to do it. So, and also to be real, like to be really real, if I wasn't doing a review, I maybe would have bought 1 or 2 things from the collection. There wasn't anything that I particularly needed. I might have tried like one of the bronzers and one of the lipsticks or something. So I had already put a fair amount of money into it. So I said what I will do is when I'm in Dublin, pick up those 3 products that I had wanted to get. And I think that morning I was even being ambitious and thinking maybe if I get home I can film it and get it up. But yeah, I wasn't thinking about the time that I was getting home. I was going to be home at midnight after a very long day. So that wasn't happening, but I did pick up the products in Dublin. I had a great time at the masterclass. Again, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that on my stories and I might pop that in a little highlight. It was a great class with Leslie Keane. I just like going to little masterclasses and little classes like that to see what other artists do, pick up tips and tricks to keep just to keep upskilling all the time and try not to get too stuck in my own ways and my own products and things. So I'm just going to take a little bit more of the contour shade I was using just to make sure that those edges are blended. I actually really like that on the eyes. It's blended really nicely and it's a nice warm shade. Okay, so using that Deep Amethyst has just added a little bit of depth on the outer corner. And I'll also run that under the eye. So I'll take a little, this is the Sedona Lace EB21 brush. And just run that along the lower lash line. So yeah, as you would have seen when I came home, I just filmed a clip so you could see how it wore. So that was kind of the bonus of everything, that I was able to include a bit of a wear test and also have it not just be a first impressions, even though I know it is just a second impressions as well, but it's a second go with it and using them in a different way. So it's not what I'd planned, but it actually gives me a little bit of extra content into the video. Okay, so I'm just going to use my NYX glitter primer and pat that onto the lid with a synthetic flat brush. And then I'm going to go in with the pigment Blazing Rose. So this I didn't get to use yesterday, just purely my own fault. I basically just forgot about it. I was in such a rush and like planning the look that I forgot to include the pigment. So this is what it looks like. At first, I think when I saw the pictures online, I thought it was just going to be like a straight normal copper. But when I went into store and I swatched it, I really loved it because it's kind of like a taupey copper, if that makes sense, because I think it's, well, let's not say copper, more of a taupey bronze, because it's like a bronze base but with a silvery reflect, so it's not so warm toned, and it just makes it really, really bright, and it catches the light really, really well. In terms of the formula, if you're familiar with the pigments, it's similar. It's very, very slightly different. It's slightly more finely milled than like the chunkier pigments like say 86 or any of the Stardust collection, but when you're pressing it on and blending it, it is that bit smoother. It does kind of blend in, so you can see like how bright that is because of the silver reflect that's in it. So I actually really like that shade. Just going to slightly blend around those edges. So I'll kind of zoom in to show you that you can kind of see when I start blending, I'm not sure if you can kind of see the sparkle in that's floated into the crease. It's like the actual sparkle and glitter particles that are in it are very finely milled. And I have gotten some fallout from the pigment, and I would recommend doing kind of minimal blending around the edges because that has kind of, I'm gonna try and adjust this away if I can. Yeah, and even because I was looking kind of down and up, more of that glitter is transferring up into my crease. So I'm just gonna try and dust some of that away. And I'm gonna give a spritz of a setting spray. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter, just in hopes that it'll hold it there a little bit better. So I didn't get the eyeliner. There's a gel liner that's in the collection in Midnight, which is a black. So apparently the difference in it is that it's a bit more of a creamier texture. You have more playtime with it because the original gel liner, because it's so waterproof and budge proof, it sets quite quickly, so it doesn't lend itself well to being kind of smudged out, whereas the one in the Jlo collection apparently does. So if you tend to like to smudge out your gel liner, or if you have the Inglot one and you're finding that a little bit difficult, then maybe check out that one. So I am just going to quickly line my eyes with the original gel liner. So I'm just going to apply some of the mascara before I apply some lashes. I'm not going to wear the same lashes again, but I feel like I want a little bit more length in this look. So I will be applying Inglot lashes in the style 14N. I haven't worn these in ages. I used to wear them all the time. They're really long but really thin and fluttery, so they don't like overpower the eye, and I didn't want to have a look that was, or an eye look that was all about the lash if the lash wasn't from the collection. So okay, so I think I'm going to leave the eyes at that and move on to the brows. So I went for kind of that hair stroke natural, a little bit more fluffy look yesterday, so I might go a little bit cleaner today. So I'm just going to use the same brush that I used yesterday, which is the Inglot 31T. That's my go-to brow brush. Okie dokie, so I have my brows on. I'll zoom you in to give you a closer look. And these are the finished eyes with the lashes as well. You can see them close up. I don't know if you can see on camera, but there is a lot of, yeah, I think you can, a lot of glitter that's moving. It's not ruining the look because I didn't do like a super dark crease or anything. And I did get a lot of fallout. I just went over with my foundation brush to try and like cover up anything that I couldn't brush off. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, there's still bits of glitter. Now, as I said, I set my face with the mattifying, the Inglot Mattifying 303 powder, but I also picked up this HD powder in the shade Nude 5, but the HD ones are much sheerer and they have a little bit of luminosity to them, but I find them really nice for like a drier skin type, or they're nice for like the under eye and stuff. But I thought I would try it as like a brightening powder. So I'm just going to take that on a little angle brush. This one is from Penny's. or Primark if you're in the UK. So that is it applied on one side. It has obviously taken out some of my shine, which gives it a little bit of a smoother effect. And it's not too bright. I'm happy with that because it is quite sheer. It's not like white. Before I do the other side, I'm just going to take a flash picture so we can see the difference. So I'm not seeing any flashback in that, which is nice. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that to the other side. And I'll just take that down the center as well. Okay, onto the cheeks. So one of the products that I didn't have yesterday was the bronzer in the shade Sunset. And these are called the Boogie Down bronzers, which is a cool name. So I'm going to go in with a Morphe M527. So like a large powder brush to bronze. And the formula of these is really nice and soft. So that's gone on really easily, blended really well, no patchiness. So then we're going to go back in with our sculpting shade, again in the shade Cocoa 4 that we used on the eyes, which is still on the warm side when I'm just swatching it next to the bronzer on my hand, and it just has a bit more pink in it. So this is the bronzer, this is the contour, so it's a little bit cooler, less yellow and more pink. So I'm going in with the same brush, just going to take it on the very tip of the bristles and be a little bit more precise. So we're just adding dimension to the contour, make it a little bit more sculpted. And again, the formula is really soft and blendable. So then I'm going to go on to the blush, same blush I used yesterday, that's the only one I picked up. Again, this is in the shade Cinnamon, you will have seen that from yesterday's look. And that's just going on the front of the cheek and blending back. So you can see it's just such a natural colour. So onto some highlight for that Jlo glow. So the highlight that I have is the Livin the highlight in the shade Radiant, and this is like the Inglot sparkling dust. And when I first saw it online, it looked very much like the sparkling dust in shade 2. In person, it is slightly different, but basically it's a loose highlighter and they're very, very pigmented, verging on that kind of glittery high shine highlight. So if you're one that likes that like beaming highlight, then you like these. And I always feel like the sparkling dusts don't get enough love online, like on YouTube and Instagram and stuff, because they lend themselves to that Instagram glam. And another difference with the Livin the highlights versus the sparkling dust is these come with a puff, which kind of confuses me because I wouldn't use this product with a puff, but I guess if you were using it on the body you might. And also I'm not sure if I would leave it in the jar because I feel like it would just get covered in it. And let's just try it with the puff on my hand. So there is just that much on the puff, and it's like a fluffy puff rather than like a kind of a flatter velour. So that's actually giving me a nice nice wash of very fine sparkle. I actually don't know if you can even see it on camera. Oh yeah, can you see it there? So actually maybe that would be nice for the body. I'm just going to tip out a little bit into the lid. I would use an Inglot 4SS, but it is dirty and needs to be cleaned. So I'm going to use a Morphe 501. So I'm just taking a little bit at a time, but I am pressing it into the brush because again, it is so loose and sparkly. I want to work it into the bristles so that I can work it into the skin. Okay. I could see a little bit of a difference between this one and the sparkling dust when I was swatching, but I can see more of a difference now that I'm applying it. It is more finely milled. I think as most of these products are in this collection, I quite like that. So it is very high shine, it is quite frosty. So if you're not one for that kind of a highlight, you might like it. Yeah, I really like that. It's like the effect of the original sparkling dust, but easier to blend and slightly more finely milled. So just a comparison, if you have the original sparkling dust, this is in the shade 2, because I was a little bit skeptical and I was kind of thinking, is it going to be just basically the same thing? And it is very, very similar, don't get me wrong. So just picked up on my finger, this is the sparkling dust in number 2. And this is the Livin the highlight in Radiant. So you can actually see a little bit of a colour difference. The Jlo one has just a little bit more depth to it. So this is the original And this is the Jlo. The Jlo is just slightly pinkier, and when I'm blending them out with my finger, it's slightly smoother and it's blending into the skin that bit more. The sparkling dust is sitting on top. Again, just a little bit more. So I would say if you have the sparkling dust, you don't need the Jlo one. But if you don't have either of these, I would opt for the Jlo one. Just even us out. So for lips, I'm going to use the lipstick that I didn't get to use yesterday. And because she didn't come out with any lip liners, I'm going to use the Inglot 63 lip liner. As you can see, mine is well loved. I need to get a new one for myself. So I'm going to use the shade that I have that I didn't get to use yesterday, which is Dolce, and that is in the creamier formula. Yesterday I used one that was a matte formula and the gloss over top. So this is a nice kind of warm browny nude. I like that colour a lot. I like those kind of shades on me. And it has like a kind of a peachy undertone to it, so it's not like too reddish of a brown. I like that a lot. I do like the colouring of this collection because it is so like warm and bronzy and so Jlo. And just for me, I find that those kind of shades work well on me. I like kind of browny toned lipsticks on me. I like kind of warmer blushes, bronzers and stuff, goldy highlights, that kind of thing. And I really like how this overall look has turned out. So this is look number 2. One thing I did forget is I wanted to use the taupe shade for Freckles. I wanted to try that today, so I'm actually doing this after I filmed the intro, so I won't have had Freckles on in that. But Freckles is something that I always mean to do and try out, but never get around to it. So I'm just going to take a straight liner brush. This is actually the Inglot 23T, and I'll go into the taupe brow gel and see how this goes. I feel like it'll be a nice shade for it, but I'll zoom you in a bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just doing little dots of different sizes and then patting them out. Just going over the little freckly beauty spot things that I already have, just to bring them out. And I'll turn this little spot into a freckle. And I'll do a few smaller ones around here. Cute. So yeah, I think that works well. It's a nice shade for Freckles, the taupe brow gel. It's not something I do very often, so I think I could probably finesse my technique a little bit. Some of them came out kind of splodgy. But yeah, that's cute. I like that. I feel like I'll do more of that. And I'll probably go to this brow gel then for that. So that is the finished look. Let's round up with our final thoughts. So all in all, I quite like this collection. As I was saying when I was doing this look, I quite like kind of warmer bronzy goldy tones on me. So I really like this collection as a whole. And also because of that reason, I think my favorite products would be the Boogie Down bronze and the HD sculpting powders. They're really soft and really blendable. And I do quite like the Livin the highlight, even though I have the sparkling dust. As I was saying, I do slightly prefer this formula. I also really like the lipsticks. The creamy formula in particular is really, really comfortable. I'm also a nude lip kind of girl, so I like that shade selection is really nice. There is a bright red in there as well. I do love this blush colour. I'm really happy I picked this up, and €10 is very affordable anyway. The shadows are nice. There were some nice kind of warm mattes as well, but I have a good amount of those, so I didn't pick any of those up. I picked up something that would be just a little bit different for my shadows. So I do really like them, but for me they weren't like extra wow. But they're nice shadows, so if you see any particular colours that you like, I'd say go ahead and get them. I don't think you'd regret it. The sparkle dust, I love the shade of it. I really like how it looks on the eyes, but just be warned that you will get fallout. And had I known that, I probably would have mixed it a little bit more with the primer, but just to give it that extra little bit of sticking power. And I also would have sprayed it with a setting spray straight away. So I would definitely apply it as like the last step in your eye makeup, so that you don't have to do much blending. So I really love the colour, I really love how it looks, but it wasn't the easiest formula to work with. The brow gels, I like the shades. I think if you have to just do two colours, a light cool brown and a dark cool brown makes sense. The dark one works perfectly for me. The light one is nice for Freckles and it will be perfect for blondes. However, as I said, I do think they're overpriced for the amount that you get. There should definitely be more product, because I feel like Inglot is kind of that mid-range, but the quality is there. So for it to be basically double the price per gram of the ABH dip brow pomade doesn't really make sense for me. So if you want to go high end, I would probably go with that, or if you want to go cheaper, I'd go with like the NYX. but again, they work fine. I like the colours, and now that I have them, I'll continue to use them. With the lip gloss, again, she did a great job with the shades, but once again, for me, I'm just not a lip gloss person, so I would opt for something cheaper. So guys, as usual, in the top line of the description box, there will be a link to the corresponding blog post, and if you click on that, it'll just open a separate tab. And there you can see close-up pictures of the products and of swatches, as well as more pictures of the looks. So guys, that is it from me for today, finally, after 2 days of trying to get this video done. Thank you so much for watching, I really do appreciate it. If you did enjoy, please give it a thumbs up, that lets me know that you like this kind of video, and it also helps out my channel an awful lot. And of course, if you'd like to see more videos from me, you can subscribe to my channel for free if you'd like to. Also, side note, I think my next videos are going to be like a studio tour, a makeup collection, what's in my kit, that kind of thing. I was intending on filming those today, but they're gonna have to be pushed to the weekend because I want to have stuff pre-filmed before my mom gets here so I can like spend more time with her. But anyway, that's it from me. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one. Bye guys.